Start again. Hey everyone, it's Connor and...
You ripped me off. Michael from Bullion Now. BullionNow.com.au, bringing you all sorts of gossip on a... What day are we up to, mate?
Michael.
Wednesday.
It is a Wednesday. It is a Wednesday. What day are we up to? If it's a Michael's mailbox, it's definitely a Wednesday.
It's been... I said to someone in the elevator, actually, on the way out when I went to grab lunch, it's been a day and a half and it's only lunchtime. So it really has today. So hello, everyone. It's good to see you tuning in. There's all sorts of people. Good old Urban's got in there first by the look of it.
Hashtag King Kane. Shout out to Kane anyways. Right. Urban Aerials has been on top of the first comments lately across the videos and the live streams.
Yeah, we should start doing a present or something for it, shouldn't we?
I think we should definitely. We'll start with a leaderboard, and then we'll decide from there what the winner gets. I think.
Yeah. So there's obviously a bit of comment on there about the koala bear that I seem to have got labelled koala bear. I'm not 100% sure why.
I think actually koala bear is a good label of all the labels.
Oh, there you go. I get usually called Ewok.
Ewok
is the other one.
You're not that short. Come on, you're a tall fella.
Yeah, but it's all this. Yeah, I don't think I've got any stress of going bald in my old age. I'll put it that way.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So you've been away, mate. What's been happening?
Sort of away. Yeah, I haven't been working out of Melbourne. We'll put it that way. I shot up and around to Mount Hotham for a little while.
You went into hibernation a little bit.
Yeah, I did. Worked out of there. Had some meetings up there and did some thinking while I was up there and a little bit of fun in the snow. I'd like to call it snowboarding. My family calls it sliding down a hill on my face.
One day we'll get footage of you sliding down the hill on your face. One day.
Right. I did try to take some footage while I was up there of that sort of stuff, but it was just too embarrassing or dangerous, so nothing ever came of that. But it was good to change the scenery, and I'm the opposite of most Australians. I actually really love winter, and I love going up into the snow. I'd far rather do that than disappear up into Queensland.
So what have you thought of the winter this year? How's that been, you reckon?
I've really enjoyed it. Yeah, I love It's a bit harsh to say that with our New South Welshmen tuning in, because I know they're under a bit of strain at the moment, and my heart goes out to them. So I grew up in the bush. I know what floods and fires and all that sort of stuff are like, and it's not pleasant.
Please, everybody out there from the bullying community and the wider community, please be safe. Look out for yourself and others, especially in these dangerous times.
Yeah. But overall, winter I've enjoyed. It's been a colder winter this year, I think.
It has. It has. Have you noticed like a significant drop in the temperature compared to, let's say, when you were a young chap?
No, I don't think so. I think I'm one of those guys that thinks it goes in cycles to a large degree. I know growing up on a farm, I've always been connected to the farm through the family farm, although we sold that many years ago. But it always moved in 7 to 10 year cycles, always. It's a cold winter, it's a wet winter, but it's not the first one I've experienced by any stretch of the imagination. So,
have you got any good winter tips for those Queenslanders out there that can't really keep up with this temperature drop?
Carry an extra jumper, mate.
Yeah.
Suck it up.
We got Peter Grace in there. We got BDK in here in the chat as well. G'day, guys. Brad Welch is here as well. Hopefully everybody's having a lovely time. MP, Mortified Stacker, EE, how you going, EE? We got Brett as well. Mike as well says, g'day from Tasmania. What's the weather like in Tasmania, Mike? If you're happy to share.
It's always beautiful down there.
It is.
I love this time of year in Hobart because it gets dark about, kind of like school pickup time, that 3:30 time. It starts really getting dark.
Yeah.
I love that. I love being in Hobart at this time of year.
Have you ever seen? So I've seen on the internet recently that, or in the last couple of years, that Hobart gets southern lights, so like pink skies.
It can do, yeah.
Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, look, flying back and forth through from Perth, going over the Bight, you can sometimes at certain times of the year see southern aurora from there.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it really is.
Well, Not to segue abruptly, but here we go. Stephen has a question for you. He says, "I'd love to know Michael's thoughts on what is going on with the price of gold and silver at the moment. I'd love to. I love it nice and low, but gee."
Um, was that gold and silver or just silver?
Gold and silver.
Yeah. Look, there's the meeting of a lot of things at the moment going on. So the world is very nervous. There's a lot of negativity out there. So obviously there's the war in the Ukraine. There's obviously central banks lifting a lot of interest rates around the world with no end of that in sight currently. There is recession starting to appear. I would argue they've been around for several months now, but even no one that I'm aware of, no country has declared officially they're in a recession, but they're all getting the early signs. You know, there's the first 3 months. So the technical definition of a recession is 2 quarters of GDP shrinkage, so GDP pullback. And several countries have reported the first quarter of GDP pullback that I'm aware of. No one's officially called the second quarter yet, but it's got to happen fairly soon. So there'll be countries going into a recession. We're all seeing inflation. You know, we're not anymore talking about inflation in the 2 to 3% anywhere in the world. I think Australia and New Zealand are calling probably the most conservative, and we're saying it's going to be 7%, going to peak at 7%. You know, the States is obviously far higher, and through Europe as well. We've got the energy crisis on top of that, you know, whether it be through sanctions or, infrastructure problems, all those types of things. So there's a lot of negativity. So it only takes the smallest sneeze for everyone to go around and think they've got the flu. And we're seeing that. We saw that last night in the pricing coming out of the States. We saw both all commodities and share markets copper hiding last night. I think the fact that gold and silver only dropped as much as it did is a good reflection on the faith that people have in gold and silver as a commodity. So I don't think we're going to see much more of a drop from here. I could be wrong. I don't believe we will see much of a drop, particularly with silver. But having said that, I don't think we're going to see much of an increase from here for quite a long time. And I've said this before, where silver is very much an industrial industrial commodity, unlike gold, which is very much an investment commodity. When your industrial side takes the hiding that it has, the demand naturally falls out from that side of the equation, and it comes back to basic economics, supply and demand, where there is even a reduced supply. When the demand has reduced far more, we're going to see the price copper hiding. So there'll be a little bit up, a little bit down, but I think it's going to stumble along this kind of level for the next, 12 months, I'd suggest anyway. I'll be shocked to see it going up in under 6 months. And I think it'll be closer to 18 months before we see any significant increases in silver. Gold is slightly different, I would argue, because it is so much more an investment metal, and it is something that we rush to when we panic as humans. And the last 5,000 years have shown that. So there is an argument to say that gold will react differently depending on how the world markets fall out over the coming, 6 months or so, 12 months or so. But there's still a lot of other things at play there. A lot of, and I've mentioned this before as well, a lot of traders, a lot of the big traders, not just in gold and silver, but in other commodities and in shares and on those types of things, they keep a lot of their excess cash, for want of a better term, in paper contracts of gold. And when they get margin called, which is what we're seeing at the moment, they dump those contracts because they know they're very, very liquid. And so it's a great place to store that excess cash.
Now, and sorry, did I interrupt you? Did you want to continue?
Yeah, I was just going to say what we're seeing is those margin calls. So they're unloading those contracts to use the funds elsewhere for the margin calls, but that increases the sell side of gold and silver to a degree, but particularly gold. And then, therefore, driving the price down as well. And that's before we're talking about foreign exchange issues on it as well.
Now, I think obviously a lot of this is still quite new to me, but I've been here for a little bit now, and I've listened to you talk about these sorts of things quite often. So I think one of the highlights there is how calmly you seem to talk about all this stuff, and I dare say that comes from the experience that you have there. Because
It's not the first time around this roundabout. We see it frequently. In 6-12 months' time, we're going to be having the conversations of, if silver ever falls below $1,000 a kilo, I'll back up the truck and I'll buy everything I can. This is, to me, this is the buying opportunity that people have been waiting for. Matt and I have this, not argument, that's way too strong a word, but Matt's very much an average guy, what do you call it? I'm having a mental blank now, a senior's moment. Like a dollar cost averaging.
Yep.
So Matt's very much a dollar cost averaging guy, and I agree with him. I think it's great to buy every week or every fortnight or every month. So you're buying at the top, you're buying at the bottom, and you're buying in the middle. But I also like to step sideways slightly and say, hey, it's not a bad idea to keep some powder dry for when it dips. So you're still buying regularly, but you're still keeping a little bit to the side. So when you get dips like now, you can start loading up. So you're skewing the ratio towards what you perceive as to be the cheaper side of it. And I think we're in there now. The fact that you can buy kangaroos at $35-ish or even less, that's a bargain. The fact that you're buying kilo bars at $1,000 or less, that's a bargain in silver. Gold hasn't been hit quite as hard, but if it's in the 25s to early 2600s Australian dollars, I'm talking here, they're bargain prices. You can. I was complaining about American Eagles, US Eagles recently, that they were $50 plus an ounce. Well, they're now mid 40s. That's a good buy for an American Eagle.
It sounds like they heard your complaints.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, it's not premium shrinkage; it's spot price shrinkage. But you're able to buy these things, and they're on special. People, and I've seen this happen so many times where, prices have been up and people are saying, oh, they'll back up the truck if it ever drops down, that'll never happen. And when it does, they don't buy. And it's crazy. Like, you need to buy things when they're really unpopular. You need to buy things. This just isn't gold and silver. This is for your investing life. You don't buy things,
at their
when,
peak.
we're at the peak. You try and buy them when they're everyone's saying, oh, isn't it terrible they've gone down? That's an indicator for you to actually start getting in there. You don't want to be buying it so much when everyone's saying, oh, I've got to get in, it's booming, it's going to go to the moon. You've already gone past that. Buy it now. It's bargain prices. Even personally, I have to admit to buying increasing my buying, we'll put it that way.
We got a couple of extra people popping on in. Mark Newcomb, the infamous, the man himself, has jumped on in. G'day, Mark. How's it going? We've also got Samantha B jumping in and saying, bought gold for the first time today, had only bought silver previously. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Well done.
No, I don't think that's a bad move at all.
Well, speaking of not financial advice, we have a little bit of an unboxing here for you, if you wouldn't mind doing that one live on live stream. You do have a knife there to your right.
Okay. This isn't staged. I actually have no idea. I carried this down and gave it to Connor from our dispatch centre, but I actually have no clue what's in here.
I asked him in the hallway. He said, "Yeah, I've left something on your desk. It was from someone else. Yeah, I have no idea what it is." I asked him. I was like, "Do you have any idea?" Nope, he has no idea what this is. So hopefully you're all looking forward to this one. We're gonna throw a bit of a poll up as well once this one opens. Our Urban Aerials is guessing, please be the exclusive. Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's as it opens.
There's two boxes in here, mate. Am I meant to open one or the other?
You can open either.
Okay.
Start with one, and then we can go from there.
Oh, here we go. I can see the corner of it.
Smith jumps in, says, Koala looks great. Need to work on that haircut, though, Michael.
Tell me about it. I have been to get my hair cut, must be half a dozen times in the last week or so, and for various reasons, it hasn't happened. So,
hey, Mark, where did you send your pic to? That pic. I do remember you saying something about that. Where is that one?
the heck, I can't even open this flaming thing. Here we go. Very cool. So it's a mug, and it's one of the infamous "This is not financial advice" mugs. Is the other one the same? Yeah, okay. I won't open the other one then and bore everyone, but there's 2 of them there. One for each hand, I'm assuming.
Well, yeah. Well, basically, one's for you to drink out of because I noticed you put a whole bunch of pens in your other one, and the other one is for our studio prop. So we're gonna have one in here the whole time.
Oh, there you go.
But I do have a question for the community. We're gonna start up a poll right now. Would you buy a mug? Buy a mug?
Yeah, I was
two
going to
A's
say
in that.
you've got 2 A's in there, mate.
There's 2 A's in that, just to keep everyone on their toes. But yeah, let us know if you'd buy a mug. This bit of merchandise has been floating around for a little while, and there have been talks of Bullion Now merch. So we just want to test the waters. Let us know if you're interested and if you'd want to pick one of these up, and we may be able to convince Michael to figure something out. Also, while I'm on top of it, shout out to Neophyte Stacker. Saying we've got 94 people in here and only 14 likes or 19 likes. We got 74 haters. Thank you so much for the promotion. If anybody out there hasn't liked the stream yet, please do. You got to make sure that the man on the stream right now sees the metrics going up. And if we get likes on our streams, we'll do more of them. Because at the end of the day, Michael does like to look at the numbers. And if you like it, tell us. Let us know.
All right, I'm going to hit some questions now. So, hi, Michael. Do you know if Perth Mint have any intentions in the future to serialise their 1 kilo silver cast bars? And also, do you have any PAMP 1 kilos on order? I don't have any PAMPs on order. I'm trying to get them on order, but the premiums have been astronomical lately. So, as soon as I can, I will get them in, but they are on hold at the moment. Funnily enough, my answer a couple of weeks ago would have been no, Perth Mint has no intention of serialising their cast bars. But I had a conversation with them, with one of the guys over there fairly recently, where they are actually talking about it. I don't think they'll do it, but they are thinking about, or they're at least having the conversation. There was another couple in there. Old man Kenobi with a beard, thank you.
Yeah, the beard does look a little Kenobi-like. Have you seen? Because I feel like there was a bit of a finale recently for the Kenobi films.
Yes, I did.
And what were without spoiling anything, what's your overall opinion? I
actually enjoyed it. It's a little slower than probably I'd like, but yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. I'm sorry, I'm skipping through trying to find some more questions. Does Michael have a degree in economics? I don't actually want to answer that question.
Oh, okay. Well, move on. That's confused me even more. Give me an email. Sure thing, Mark. I've just sent a message to the Matt who runs that email.
There's a few questions about the release that we've got an exclusive on.
Yes.
Coming up.
Well, are you allowed to tell us? None of us here know. You're the only man with the information. What's the situation?
We can talk about it. So it's being, at this stage, unless Perth Mint change the date again, it will be released on the 12th, which will be next Tuesday. I'm fully expecting to not have the silver stock arrive on Tuesday because it still hasn't been dispatched out of Perth. So I've been begging them to expedite it, but we'll see what happens. They have promised me that they will try and get it out by the end of the week, which means we kind of will have it kind of mid to late next week. But the release date is Tuesday. We should have the gold here. We're a bit iffy on the silver. And Urban Aerials is correct. It is the Super Pit.
Oh, good call there, Urban Aerials. Well done.
So,
do you know? Can you give us a little bit of a spiel about the Super Pit there, Michael?
I can't tell you about the design. That's still under wraps. But the Super Pit, it's obviously, or it may not be obviously, it's named after, or it's in celebration of the Super Pit in Kalgoorlie, which is the largest open mine gold mine in the world, as far as I'm aware. And it's pretty amazing if anyone's been there and seen it. And I encourage you to go and have a look at it if you get half a chance. You're out Kalgoorlie way, just passing through. Go and have a look at the Super Pit because it's amazing. You know, you're looking down into this pit, and for perspective, you know, the trucks that you can see working in the bottom, they look, you know, slightly bigger than ants sort of thing. And when you get near them, you realise that the tyre on them alone is kind of my height, and I stand near enough to 6 foot or 1.83 metres. So, you know, they are serious sized trucks. So this hole goes very, very, very deep into the earth. And it's pulling out huge amounts of gold. So
it's almost a bit of a celebrity in the Australian culture. I think a lot of Australians who have lived out that way myself included, have even been out there and seen it as the tourist attraction that it is.
Yeah, and it's incredibly impressive. So this series is produced every year by the Perth Mint, and we very proudly have the exclusive in Australia on it. It's I wasn't a huge fan of last year's design. I haven't seen the coin yet, but I've seen the promo material on this year's design, and I actually quite like it. I've got very high hopes for it. So,
do we know if it's a 5-ounce super? Asks Peter.
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that. So the 1 ounce gold and silver is being released on the 12th. And we don't know at this stage if there's going to be a 5-ounce gold.
Moving right along, Mark Newcomb has a question. Michael, what do you think the chances would be to get permission to paraglide over the super pit?
I don't think it'd be a problem.
Really? Are you,
Yeah.
What?
Why not?
I feel like it wouldn't work. I feel like
Hang on.
you just sending an email to the Paragliding Society, sending an email to the mine in Kalgoorlie to see if we can do it. Next live stream next week, Michael's Mailbox will be live streamed from a paraglider going over the super pit.
I don't do paragliders. Let's just be clear about that. I see no reason why you can't. There's no restriction over it that I'm aware of. I can't find one in a hurry. I'm not looking at my charts, but doing a really quick search on the internet, where I'd normally see the restricted airspace, I can't see any restricted airspace over it.
Okay, well, apparently that's Mark Newcomb's dream. So let us know if that ever comes off, Mark. We'd love to see some footage of that.
Yeah, no, I can't find any in a hurry, we'll put it that way, that there's any restriction from doing that. So I can't see why we can't do it.
All right, well, we'll go from there. I have a couple of questions for you from the audience, though, Michael. Diane asks, if Smithy's creations attract GST, do the bullets you're now selling all... Yes, the answer is yes.
Yes, they do. It's not considered an investment grade bullion product. It's considered a collector's item, therefore it incurs GST.
NK also has a question. Have you had buybacks from Bali? I'm going overseas and wonder if I should be on the lookout. I've decided in future I'm going to spend my foreign currency on bullion rather than holding it.
Yeah, be very, very careful. Buy it from an official shop, bullion shop. We have had Indonesian gold in before, and it's great quality. I've got no issue with it, but there is a lot of copy stuff over there, imitation stuff, fake stuff, of all breeds, not just bullion. So be very careful. But yeah, you can pick up some good stuff over there.
We've got Monotremata says, just don't fly over the super pit when they're blowing things up.
Yeah, usually they put out a what's called an OTAN when they're doing things like that, and we stay away from it at that point. But yeah, it's a good point.
Vaughan has dropped in. Hi everyone, sorry I'm late. Thing called work. Yeah. We don't know anything about that, Vaughan, but welcome on in. G'day Sim Bungee Coin Adventures. How's it going? As a pyrotechnics. Oh yeah, so Urban Aerials has a question for you, Michael. Michael, as a pilot, what's your thoughts on drones?
I thought we were doing a bullion channel.
We're getting to that.
My thoughts on drones. I like drones. I don't like them as a pilot.
What? Because they're a airspace hazard?
Yeah. It's not the drone itself. It's the operator. So they must stay below. I think it's 400 feet, but I'd have to look it up to confirm it. But I think it's 400 feet the drones have to stay below, and the number of times, I was going to say I've seen them in the air. I haven't seen them in the air. That's been half the problem. But I've found, like, I've landed at an airport and some knucklehead's got a drone scooting around the airport in the airspace there, and not on a radio or anything along those sort of lines. I'm amazed. The one thing that I am amazed about is that there hasn't been an accident with one yet, of any seriousness, or at least that I'm aware of. So from that perspective, I don't like them. But overall, I mean, they're great. I used to do aerial photography when, back when I had colour in my hair. And the quality of pictures and photos and accuracy that you get from a drone is far greater than you can get in an aircraft. And the cost comparison, well, there is no comparison. It's so much cheaper to operate. So, from the technical side, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I'll second that from the content creation and film industry side as well. Drones are just opening up some pretty amazing doors. We've got Daniel Germano in the house, and he says, "Legends, what's happening?" I've actually just received a bunch of footage from Daniel Germano on how he makes the silver dye. So I've put all that into an assembly edit and putting that together and do a little bit of voiceover. But I would love to at some point potentially get us out there and have a hands-on sort of look at how it's done with our gear while we're there with Germano. So if that's possible, Daniel, let me know.
Right, I'm going to drag you back to some earlier questions.
Go for
Mark Newcomb went to buy some local 10-ounce bars and no stock. We actually do have some stock, so if you're actually after them, give us a call, 1300 84 84 10. Talk to Matt or Con in there. They'll sort you out. I don't have a lot of them, which is why they haven't been listed on the web recently. I'm waiting for the next delivery, which is at least a week away. But if you're after anything up to about 50 of them, we can probably accommodate that without too much drama. Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to slide that one in there.
That's fine. We've got a question from Kane. First of all, his recent comment is, why don't you address my question? I am getting around to them. We do try and get all the questions, but they do jump back. The original question was, what do you think of the 190 million tons of high-grade gold ore they just found in Africa?
There's... I've been asked about this for a couple of times. I'm not sure why. There's a big difference between finding gold and actually being able to pull it out of the ground. I mean, there is tons and tons and tons of gold in the ocean, but we can't process it. There is heaps of gold in meteorites and things like that going past, but we can't extract it. The fact that they've found a major discovery in Africa is all well and good, but how much of it is workable, how much of it is can they pull out of the ground, how much of it, there's a whole string of questions there. There was a big discussion about, this is going to cause a plunge in the price. No, it won't. If anything, it'll increase the price because of the cost it will take to get it out of the ground and process it, particularly in somewhere like Africa. It's a great find, and I'm pleased for the people who have found it, but it's a long way between here and actually producing some out of the ground. Does that answer the question?
I think it does. It does. What are your thoughts on the recent price drops, please? Says Goldbug. So there was a big silver drop, and I think there was also quite a significant gold drop as well.
Yeah, so we touched on this earlier. Look, to be honest, I think we're at the bottom, particularly with silver. Gold, I don't think gold will move down further, but it may. Silver, I'm fairly sure, is hitting the bottom of its range at the moment, but I don't think it's going to recover quickly, is the essence of it. It also depends on what happens with the Australian dollar compared to the US dollar. So you got to remember that when you buy gold and silver or any commodity, they're priced in US dollars. So if you're buying them in anything other than US dollars, it's a foreign exchange play as well. So we were cushioned last night against some of the fall in gold and silver because the Australian dollar didn't pull back as far as expected. So it cushioned us a little bit. So we've, if we see the Australian dollar falling further and the US dollar staying up, then we'll actually, you will find that the price will stay fairly stable in Australian dollar terms, or even increase, even if gold and silver come back a little bit.
Samantha B says meteorite gold would be cool. I completely agree. One day. ILS has a question regarding hedging. Can spot drop so low that you are unable to buy your hedge stock?
No, but I hesitate there. Things like silver will always be produced because it's a byproduct of mining. Whether you're mining gold or copper or any of those things, you're producing silver, and it will be processed because it's a byproduct. It's there. They've got to do something with it. So particularly silver, I don't think I'll have any problem hedging with. Gold is slightly different. I still don't think I'll have a problem hedging it, but gold probably does concern me a little bit. That one day I may not be able to. It's been very, very, very rare I haven't been able to hedge. It has occurred. I can think of 2 occasions, both of which occurred at the start of COVID, and that was more a a refinery issue. The refineries weren't sure what was going on, so everyone clamped up. It is something that plays on the back of my mind, but there's no sign of it being an issue at this stage. But I'm always cautious of it, and I always try and have reserve ways to hedge. And I do have several other options before I ever hit the paper market, which I don't think I'd ever do it, but it certainly would be the choice of last resort.
Kane has a question. Oil went into minus. Can silver do the same thing?
No. Look, theoretically anything's possible. My argument would be no. The reason oil went into minus was because it was future contracts, and companies can't store oil unless they've got major facilities to, and the facilities were all full. That was the concern. So it was a case of, I can't take delivery because I've got nowhere to store it. I've got to dump it, and that's why it pushed into the negative. Silver's a bit different. You don't need tanks and all that sort of stuff. You can just, roll it up and dump it out the backyard. So I don't believe it, in the same way, I don't believe it would ever go into the negatives.
Daniel Germano says, had my 5-year-old in store and he got to hold the 1 kilogram gold. Had the biggest grin. BN's the best. You are welcome. Thank you for bringing the young ones in.
It's a real buzz for us in the store. Like we love being able to let people hold the kilo bar of gold, but we really like it with kids. Sometimes they don't understand what they're holding, but their parents certainly do. But yeah, quite often that you get the biggest smiles out of them, and it's a real buzz. We love it.
In response to that, Mark Newcomb has said, "Oh, Daniel, just make sure you wash the kids' hands because Michael licks them, licks the product, not the hands." Peter Gray says, "Michael, did you get to see the link regarding the 1 kilogram Lunar Tiger for China market by Perth?"
I didn't. I should have. That absolutely should have gone across my desk, and I can't understand why I can't think of it off the top of my head.
We'll get back to you with that
Hang
one.
on. It's the 1 kilo. Oh, coloured Lunar Tiger. Yeah, sorry. That's a silver one, isn't it? Yeah, I have seen that one. I really like... I'm not a big fan of coloured coins. I know Matt would smack me for it.
Sacrilege.
I'm not a big fan of coloured coins. I really like this year's design in the colour. I think it really brings out the tiger on it. I think they've done an excellent job. It really pops. So yeah, I think it's great. I love what they're doing with the gilding, but I think the coloured tiger this year is really good.
Mortified Stacker's in. G'day, Mortified Stacker. They have a question saying, Michael, what's the procedure in selling back to Bullion Now from interstate? I.e., do you just contact the person once you receive the coins and the price is agreed then?
We do it either way, depending on who you are to a degree, but depending on what you're sending back. If you're sending back a couple of kilos of silver or, a few ounces of gold and you want to lock in the spot price at that point, you call us, 1300 84 84 10. Talk to one of the people on the phone. They're happy to lock in the price at that point. Obviously, you're not going to get paid out until we receive the item and we've tested it. But yeah, we're happy if it's a smaller amount, and by smaller amount I mean kind of that less than 5 kilos of silver, less than probably 5 ounces of gold. I'm quite happy to lock in the price. If you're talking several hundred kilos of silver, that's a different discussion. That starts to impact on our hedging. But yeah, quite happy to lock it in beforehand, or if you want to take the risk of it going up or going down in that time where it's actually in transit, then yeah, absolutely. When it arrives, we'll give you a ring and say, hey, we've got your stuff, we've tested it, and this is the current price. Are you happy to go ahead at that point?
Now, we are just about to wrap up with this poll for would you buy a mug? We've got 52% of people saying yes, they would, and 48% of people saying no out of 73 votes. So there you go. There's the cold, hard facts.
There you go.
Review Master says, looking good, Michael. The girl with the blue beanie says, hello, g'day.
Hey.
Rachel says, how about platinum? Well, how about platinum, Michael?
Platinum. I got to be honest with you. I haven't had a chance to look at what impact it had on the platinum price overnight. I'll just bring it up now and have a quick squeeze. I assume it's been hammered the same as silver has. Yeah, actually not as much as I expected. Platinum's down at the moment. Everyone knows that I love platinum, and I think it's a great thing to stack. Again, platinum Gold is an investment metal. Silver is kind of an investment metal and kind of an industrial metal. Platinum is an industrial metal. While industry is copping the hiding that it's copping at the moment, there is not going to be an increase in platinum. We can talk all we like about the new technologies, the cars, all that sort of stuff, and they're all very, very, very valid comments. It's not going to happen until we see industry come out of the hole and really start driving. So, again, I've been buying platinum recently. I think it's a good price, and I think in 18 months to 2 years, we'll be looking back at these prices very longingly. Not financial advice, that's just the way I'm thinking at the moment.
You know, you've got the mug right there as well. So as you say that, you can lift it up.
Yeah, that's right.
Karen says, hello, love the live streams. Thank you very much, Karen. We love it. We're glad that you're enjoying them. They also have a question. Are you able to give us a rundown on what bullion coin releases come out at what time each year?
Yes and no.
This is a sore point, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Look, there's a couple of reasons why I hesitate with this. One is we're quite often tied by... I'm really having the seniors moments today. By embargoes, and we just can't say anything. Sometimes it's a case of we know they're coming out, but we know that whichever manufacturer it is going to change the dates at various times, and we don't want to look like a rabbit saying, it's going to be released on Monday, and Monday we're saying, well, actually it's not being released for another 2 weeks. They've pushed the release back. So we're a little hesitant about that, but we can talk in generals. Like the next lunar animal from Perth Mint will be released that late August, early September time. We don't have specific dates. I have actually seen the design of the rabbit. Looks good. I like this one. But yeah, it'll be released then. The Kookaburra will be released in, let me get this right. It goes lunar, it goes to Kookaburra, so that will be released in October. The kangaroo is released in November. The koala is released in January. That's the kind of the normal. From there, pushing out into some of the more exclusives or one-offs that they produce. I'm talking specifically Perth Mint in this case. They kind of, we have guidelines, but they don't seem to be sticking to it for the last year or two, obviously because of COVID and production issues. But what are we doing? The Super Pit is actually, it's almost on schedule. It's usually about a month earlier, but it's not too far out. The Double Pixiu, that's usually out earlier than this. The Rectangular Dragon was a bit late to market. The Rectangular Kangaroo, I haven't even heard boo of, and that's normally well and truly out by now. So that's why we're a little cautious about giving advice as to what's coming out, because we may not know, and even if we do know, we may not quite believe when they're going to be released.
And often we're usually relying on someone else for the actual the release there, basically, as Michael said.
Yeah.
Peter has a question. Michael, can we pre-order the Great Southern Land, and any word on the price of gold hypothetical?
Of the gold one. We're happy to take pre-orders once we get confirmation of our allocation. So we won't take pre-orders prior to that for obvious reasons. I don't want to commit to 200 orders and we only get allocated 50 because that's a bum fight. But once we get an allocation, we're happy to start talking pre-orders. You can certainly register your interest in them. If you send an email to sales@littlecoinshop.com.au for the Great Southern Land coin, that's obviously, it's not a lock-in on either side, so you don't have to take it, we don't have to give it sort of thing, but it's an expression of interest. And that way we can actually know, we've got 200 people that are interested in this, so we need to get an allocation of at least 200 preferably. Or if we've only got an interest from 5 people, then we know that we're not going to be looking for an allocation of 500 or anything along those sort of lines. So,
Peter says, "I'm in."
Yeah. So, like I said, don't tell me because I'll have forgotten by the time the live stream's finished. Send an email to sales@littlecoinshop.com.au and one of the people over there will grab hold of it and put you on the expression of interest list that they run over there. The price on the gold, hypothetically, I would expect to see it somewhere in the high. If they do a 1 ounce gold, I I'm assuming you're talking about the Great Southern Land. I don't know as they do a gold one, but if they did, I would expect to see it in the mid to high 3,000s.
Brett has a question. They're asking, when are the 2022 Eagles coming in?
When I can buy them at a decent premium. I can get them. It's not a big deal. But the premium for them... Okay. I have explained this before, but it's a really good question. The problem with higher premiums, like when it's costing me $20 Australian an ounce to land a coin, and I'm buying them in bulk. When it costs me $20 an ounce to land them in Australia, and you're talking, let's say silver's $30 an ounce, it's $50 just to get them here, and that's before I start taking into account, wages and overheads and all that sort of stuff, and a profit that we need to make at the end of the day. And I'm ending up, even now, with silver at about that $30 mark, I'm charging, if I brought in Eagles at the moment, I'd probably have to be charging $55 to $60 per Eagle for it. There's two problems there. One is I get called a price gouger, that I'm just ripping people off, which is a fair enough comment, but even at $55, we're probably only just covering costs. The other thing is people say, look, I'll quite happily pay $55 for a coin. I just want one. That's great. But at $55 selling one coin, we would be actually making a fairly decent loss on that one. If you bought, 500 of them at $55 an ounce, that's probably something we can do. So, it's that's the reason we don't have any 22 Eagles in at the moment. We are almost out of. I took in a fairly large order of 21 Eagles because we knew this premium increase was coming. So we actually bought quite a lot of them. We're almost out of those. We've got less than 100 left. So I need to place an order for Eagles fairly soon. I was hoping the premium would have come back by now. I'm not seeing any sign of it yet. I don't expect to have Eagles in. If I'm honest, I don't expect to have the 22 Eagle in, but at least until Christmas at the very earliest would be what I'd be saying at the moment.
We've got a bit of a discussion going on pandas. EE says, what would be the buyback on panda 1 ounce silver coins? Spot?
Yeah, we pay spot for everything. And it's one of the reasons, and I am shooting myself in the foot a little bit here, it's why we say if you've got coins, we should probably be your place of last resort to sell them back to, because we're not going to pay you any premium for the coin. We will pay you its spot price value.
Urban Aerials asks, why are the pandas so expensive? Seems to be one thing from China that isn't cheap, more expensive than eagles.
They're just difficult to get out of China. I don't know what else to say on that one. They are expensive because they're, particularly the new ones, they're 30 grammers. They have huge followings in China, so they're hard to get out of China. The older ones, the mintages are quite low on the older ones, so you pay big money for the older ones, even though they're straight bullion. They're a little bit along the Eagle line. The premiums on them are just so high on a wholesale level, and that passes on.
Do you have any wedge-tail eagles lurking around the back?
I don't want to answer that question.
Moving right along.
It'll cause a flood. Keep an eye out on the website. Don't phone in. I know there are some wedge-tail eagles back there. I don't know what year they are. I can't tell you, but I will release them to the website. We're still dragging out the old stock that we found when we did the audit earlier on last month. So they will appear on the website as and when I get to them. Don't call into the guys because they won't actually know what's there, and they won't know. They'll just give you a straight, we don't have any. Don't come into store because Ruben and Brett won't know them. I've got them buried out the back, and I will get to them in the not too distant future, and they'll get released to the website.
We might have to start being a little bit careful because I'm not sure if anybody in the chat knows this, but I've been copping a little bit of flack from everyone around the shop in the past couple of weeks because we've let out a few little secrets here on the live stream that no one else seems to know about. And then everyone gets a little bit upset because they don't know what's going on. And I also don't have the full details. So we'll have to figure something out there. There was another question before. This is from Neophyte Stacker. Is the premium on ASE, A-Mark PMs doing?
No, is the short answer. It's demand driven. The American Mint, the US Mint, has a sweetheart deal. I shouldn't call it that. I'll get smacked for it. They only sell to 5 wholesalers in the world, and everyone has to go through them. So effectively, they have an oligopoly on it, and they set the price. They set the premium, and there's horrendous demand at the moment. So they are they can charge pretty much whatever premium they like because you can't go anywhere else. And particularly, it's one of the problems with. There's a lot of good things about YouTube. There's a lot of bad things about YouTube and the internet overall. And one of the things is a lot of the YouTube stacking channels say, you got to, the American Eagle is the way to go. It's the one you got to stack. And you're right. When you're in the States, that's what it is. But if you're not in the States, don't stack ASEs. Don't stack American Eagles. Stack your local coin. So if you're in Canada, stack the maple. If you're in Britain, stack the Britannia. If you're in Australia and you want to stack 1 ounce silver coins, stack the kangaroo. They're the cheapest, cheerful thing that you get locally. The problem is a lot of people from outside the US, they watch these channels and they see that, I've got to get the US Eagle. So it increases this demand ridiculously, and it shouldn't be there. So no, it's not A-Mark's fault. It's the fault of the market, and it's people saying, well, I can get the premium for it, so I'll ask it.
Kurjan is asking about the buybacks, but do you resell them as a numismatic when you buy things back?
No, is the short answer. We don't. There are... Hey, Ruben's come in to say hello.
I'm chasing a coin.
Excuse us for 1 second.
Looking for a
What are
coin?
you after?
What kind of coin are you looking for?
A little coin shop one that was in here before.
Not this one?
No. There was a stack that was sitting just there.
Help yourself, mate. You won't be on camera down there. You'll be
No,
right.
on camera, you're safe.
Excuse me for a second. This is what happens on a live television, as Matt would say.
I'll leave you to it.
Yeah.
See you, Ruben.
Sorry, you did ask a question. Numismatics.
Yes.
No, look, as a rule, we sell buybacks as buybacks. We don't tend to pick through them at all. Look, I'd be lying if I said the guys didn't go, ooh, when something comes across the counter and they might put it aside and buy it themselves. But it's not the norm. For a start, the guys don't have time. It's so busy over the counter. And quite often we don't like doing that anyway. We want it to be genuine when people come in and buy from the buybacks. It's a lucky dip, for better or worse. So you may end up with something numismatic-ish. You may end up with a mouldy old bar that's been kicked around the backyard for a while.
Now,
You never know your luck.
on a side topic, Mark Newcomb, yes, I have seen the photo you sent through. We will be going through all those photos from the last week's live stream. We got a little bit of a competition, Michael, that you might be interested in, but we won't show you until the Friday itself. Just quietly, Mark, brilliant work. Love it, mate. So, speaking of Perth Mint, tell me about their prices. What's been going on there?
Well, their prices for some things are too cheap, if you ask me, and other things are too
We're not
expensive.
asking you that. don't tell them to bump their prices up, Michael.
Somebody in the comments has said, can you top up the unallocated? It's been out all morning, so I've just topped up the allocated then as we speak, so I apologise for that. That slipped past me. Whoever was asking that, and I can probably tell you because it'll be still up on my page.
Ken has a question. Can you get silver 556 bullet bullion to complement the 308s?
Give me a break here.
Were they a little bit difficult to get into the country, Michael?
Yes. I thought I did well getting the 308s. Look, I don't think so. I've been looking out for all sorts. I'd like to get some 12 gauge in, some 9mm in, that sort of stuff. Look, the NATO rounds, I actually don't know anyone that's producing NATO rounds at the moment, but I'll keep hunting, I'll keep looking, no pun intended. I'll keep looking around for them and see what we can find, because they're good fun. And I thought it was great. We got the werewolves in at the same time, and I thought that was just, maybe it's just my twisted sense of humour, but I thought it was great that we released the werewolves and the silver bullets at the same time. It was a bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen that, go back and watch the video. The bullets aren't the cheapest thing on earth. They're 2 ounces of silver. They're well over $110, I think, because we have to charge GST on them, and they cost me an arm and a flaming leg to get in. But they're a bit of fun. A good talking point to have in your stack, and a great gift as well.
John Smith has a question. Hi, guys. Any silver swans arriving soon?
No, not for us. As far as I'm aware, the silver swans have sold out. But it's one of the few things that I can't get hold of is the Silver Swan. And it devastates me to admit that. But, I'm not allowed to buy them from the Perth Mint.
For anybody who's wondering, the video of the release of the Silver Bullets and the Werewolves is just in the chat there. If you click on that link, you can have a look at it there. Go with the Blue Bin. He says, what's the competition? Well, for those of you guys who missed last Friday's live stream, we had Con and Matt in, and we ran a bit of a different segment, something a bit different, as Matt would say, and it was a drawing challenge, and it was the challenge was basically to get somebody to get both gentlemen to attempt to draw a prompt from memory. So they didn't get to see the coin; they just saw, the Shrek coin, or the emu was the other one, and they had to draw it from memory on a whiteboard. And if anyone was watching, you'll definitely know how it went. But then we opened up the competition to the rest of the chat. So if anybody else wants to make an attempt on drawing the best emu or Shrek, or I think the challenge was to draw Shrek riding an emu.
Great.
Yeah, so send it through to live@bullionnow.com.
Okay, so Peter Graceman Guide is correcting me, and I actually did know this. The Great Southern Land, they've got a gold one, 2 ounce, and opal. So, okay. You're right, and they will be released fairly soon.
I'll just cut in as well. Kane's just heading out. I will just have to say happy birthday, Kane, for the weekend.
Oh.
Hopefully you had a lovely birthday on the weekend, and hope it was all good. I hope he hasn't gone yet. So there you go. Happy birthday, mate.
I'm just reading one on your screen from EE. I know it's a little coin shop question. The 2022 One Love, are we still able to obtain any more? I actually don't know on that one. I didn't know. I'm 90% sure that I saw some in stock only the other day. So I'd be pretty surprised if we don't have them. But I will pose, actually, I'll do it while we're talking. I'll flick a question off to the guys over at LCS and find out if they've got any. Do you have? And you're welcome, MP, for the unallocated. He was the one that asked me to top up the ones.
BDK has a very important question. Do the werewolf coins have the RCM mint shield on them?
Sorry, I missed the question.
Do the werewolf 2 ounce coins have the RCM mint shield, the Canadian mint shield?
I can't remember.
Stand by. We'll get back to you there, BDK.
Yeah, I can't answer that with any certainty. I think so, but I actually can't stand by that statement because I can't think why I'd know that.
There's a really good question from Legbad here. Why do you call it unallocated when there is in fact silver in a vault allocated to you once you buy it?
We call it unallocated because we wanted to differentiate it from allocated. Some places call it pool allocated. I can see the argument for that. It's unallocated because you don't have your name on a particular piece. You could be part of if you've got a kilo bar of silver in unallocated. It could be a 1 kilo bar. It could be 2 half kilo bars. It could be 32, 33 1 ounce coins. It could be part of a 10 kilo bar. You're not allocated a specific bar. You are part of the pool of unallocated objects, if you like, or metals. So that's why it got called unallocated, for want of a better term. In hindsight, if I could go back in time, I'd probably rename it pool allocated, but I can't, so it's unallocated.
Dr. Bullion has a question. Hi, gents. 10 kilo Tiger, is it still available, please?
Negative. I snuck that one quietly up onto the web. I'm actually devastated that it's sold. I don't know, that sounds stupid because we're in the business of selling, but I actually wanted to keep one in store and have it as a bit of a demo model because they really are impressive. They're a great talking point. But I thought, well, I'll sneak it up there just in case somebody wants it, and it went instantly.
I actually went to shoot just a little quick video with it, and I knew it had already sold, but I was told it was already bolted away and still in its packaging. So unfortunately, it is gone.
Mark Newcomb comments, did anyone notice AMark brought 49% of gold silver bull with a 75% option? I didn't know they'd actually taken gold silver bull. They're actually buying out quite a lot of the major manufacturers and retailers. So I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's a good thing from a business sense. I'd like to start doing that for Bullion Now, actually taking some positions in other areas of precious metals. But I don't know if it's going to be good for the industry or not. We'll have to see how it plays out.
We have a question from Adam Adamson. Do you know if there will be any more figure 8 coins? I was collecting them for my daughter, but there wasn't one last year.
Actually, I thought there was. Give me a second. No, I can stay there.
We've also got a question that I could probably answer. What is the live email? I will just double check that before I respond to that, actually, but I'm fairly sure it's live@bullionnow.com.au.
No, you're right. They didn't do one last year.
Was that unexpected? Were they expecting to do one?
Yeah, they did one for a few years running. I can't answer that one. That one slipped past me altogether.
If anyone in the chat has any information on that one, please share it around. Let us know. We'll look around and see what we can find, and if we do find something, we'll let you know.
Yeah, they did the 2018, the 2019, and the 2020. I don't know why they didn't do the 21. I can't give you an answer on that one. That completely slipped me.
Michael, would you ever consider a Zoom meeting or seminar or something for people to who are just getting into precious metals? I'd like to chime in on that. There's actually a getting into investing playlist that we do have that we've been meaning to reshoot or update, I should probably say. So that's probably how we're going to tackle that one in the future.
Yeah, but look, I actually would like to do some seminars is too strong a word, but seminars for all sorts of levels. I think we could do quite a decent one for beginners and run one for the more intermediate, advanced stackers, for want of a better term. And I'd love to bring in some accountants and financial planners talking about SMSFs and where it fits into your tax and that type of stuff. So, I'm hoping to drag something like that together. And if anyone's listening and they're a qualified accountant or financial planner, get in contact with me. Send an email through to sales@bullionnow.com.au and we'll touch base about organising these sorts of things, because it would be good to have an accountant that stacks to actually talk about, how does this fit into your SMSF? How can this fit into your overall investing? What are potential tax deductions for this? Because I'm a big fan of tax deductions. I don't want to donate more than I have to, but I certainly want to be part of the... I'm one of those odd creatures. I'm a big fan of tax. I love living in this country. I love the fact that we have... Everyone's going to jump on me here, but we do have decent roads. We do have a decent medical system. We do have a decent education system. Start travelling the world and you realise how good and how lucky we are in this country. So I don't mind paying tax. Having said that, I don't think they're particularly efficient at the way they use my tax dollars, so I'm quite happy to not donate extra.
Matthew has a question for you, asking for a friend, what is the next mythical animal after the werewolf?
Don't know.
Hasn't been released yet, has it?
No, I got to say, the Royal Canadian Mint is not particularly forthcoming on their future releases. That one, I don't know. No clue.
Do we have a rough estimate on when they're released? No.
Yeah,
right.
I think they were supposed to release it 6 months ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so...
Keep an eye out.
Yeah. Dear, what else have we got?
Does sugar-free Coke clean coins? Not valuable. Got around 50s all smegged up, asks Mark Newcomb. Should Mark put his coins into sugar-free Coke?
I've actually... We need to do this. Write this one down, Connor. We need to do a side-by-side comparison with real Coke and sugar-free Coke, or unleaded and full strength. Let's have a look at them. So I know that all the purists out there, including me, are going, oh, don't do it. But I would be fascinated to see what would happen. So
how long do you reckon we should wait before?
No, we drop it in. Even a week, you'd be able to absolutely see the difference. But we'll throw one in. We'll try and do it this Friday.
Yeah.
We'll throw one in and in each, and we'll have a look at them the following Friday.
Perfect. I'm looking forward to that. Legbat has chimed in all caps. Don't put your coins in Coke. Please don't. Don't worry, everybody. We will do it for you and we'll post it on the internet.
Yeah, look, I'm a coin guy. I do not like I do not like coins being cleaned. But like let's have a crack at it and see what happens, because it's better that we waste one of ours and you put something precious in and oops.
Yep, that'd be very heartbreaking. Now, if anybody out there has any final questions for the man himself, please get them through right now. Is there anything else you want to go over right now at the moment, Michael? Is there anything we feel like we haven't touched on?
We do need to touch on... actually, I want to just touch on one of your questions you've got going across your screen.
Yep.
We can... Mortified Stacker is asking about selling back funds. You've just run over it. Yeah, that one there. Can they just be held in account for the purchase of coins at some point in the future? We can do that. Yeah, absolutely, we can do that. Now, the other thing I wanted to touch on before we wrap up is...
just quickly, Mark has jumped in and said, I'm only joking, guys.
Perth Mint has increased their premiums again. And yes, I'm picking on Perth Mint. No, I'm not picking on Perth Mint because everyone is increasing their premiums across the board. Increases in energy, so whether it be gas or electricity, which is pretty heavily used in this industry. The increases in inflation across packaging, shipping, wages, all those sorts of things. We're going to see more and more increases in premiums above spot price. Perth Mint did an increase last week on their minted bars, and I believe a couple of other things as well. So you're going to notice, I don't think I've increased our premiums yet, purely because I haven't had time to, but you'll see our premiums increase for our minted bars over the next week. It's happening again. I keep saying to people, and I'm selling it, so of course I'm going to say this, but I would suggest if you've got your eye on something, buy it sooner rather than later, because even if spot price goes down $1, you're going to see premiums go up $2 or $3 anyway. So grab them while you can.
We have a question from Why Not. If the economy goes bad or a currency reset, is it possible to have a run on metal to new currency conversion? Too many metal sellers and very few buyers. Dollar liquidity issue of bullion dealers.
Look, anything is possible. I think the last 2 years have proven that. There's so many things that we said would never happen have happened. I live in the great state of Victoria, who's had the longest lockdown of anywhere in the world. And 2 years ago, if you'd said that to someone that, the government will stop us from leaving our homes, you would have been laughed out of the pub. So, anything is possible. I don't believe that is a scenario that is likely to play out. I think it would go into the reverse, to be honest. If we have a reset, people are going to run, not just to metal, but to any hard asset at all. So you are going to see the reverse situation where we're going to have way too many buyers and not enough sellers.
Phil T has a question. Michael's thoughts on the US Mint stopping production on the ASE gold and silver coins this year. Is it a way for them to restrict precious metals in the market so the price of them goes up?
I actually don't. I can't swear to this, but I actually don't think they've stopped production. I think they've stopped selling their production. So they have sold so many, pre-sold so many, that they know they can't produce any more of them for the year. So I don't think it's an intentional restriction of precious metals into the market. I think it is purely a production issue. We can't produce any more than X million in a year. We don't have the equipment to produce any more. There's no more than 24 hours in a day. We just can't do it, even running 3 shifts a day. Therefore, we need to stop selling our production for the year, and I believe that's what's actually happened.
And our final question from today is from EE. Has there been any answer back from the little coin shop?
Great question.
Stand by.
No, there hasn't. So I'd say they're busy trying to get their shipping out for the day because it's getting towards the end of the day. So they're probably under the pump. And they will get back to me about 5 minutes after this live stream finishes.
Well, speaking of which, let's wrap it up there. Thank you very much, Michael, for taking some time and welcome back.
Thank you. And it's always a pleasure to tune into these things. I love doing it. So thank you very much for tuning in with us and sticking around for an hour and a quarter of my waffle.
Now, if anybody in the chat wants to know exactly when we go live, you have a great little resource there. We're actually on Twitter. So there's our link to our Twitter page in the chat right there. We're posting whenever we're live there, and I'm slowly convincing Michael to post his thoughts there as well.
I'm not sure anyone wants that.
I think you'd be surprised. And while we're at it, go and check out the Bullion Now Instagram page, as I'm in control of the Instagram page at the moment. So there's the link there, and I'm posting a couple of little videos and things from the day-to-day world here at Bullion Now. So again, thank you everybody for tuning in, coming along, saying g'day. Give us a like if you enjoyed this stream, and if you want to know or see anything more, please let us know. We will be back on Friday at 2:30 with the whole gang, and we'll be trying to do some spectacles there. We have a bit of a competition, so if there are any artists or drawers out there who think they can draw Shrek on an emu, please go and watch last Friday's stream, and you'll know
what happens when I go away and they're in charge. It just falls to pieces.
Oh, get out of it, mate. We had some brilliant drawings last week.
Oh dear! And I promised to try and have a haircut and a shave before Friday.
I think the stubble looks good, mate. The haircut, you go for it though.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you all so much, and we will see you on Friday.
See ya.